Hello everybody. So in today's video I'm going to answer this question on if I've ever experienced a creative block or a time in my career as a creative when things got really difficult, and these difficulties posed challenges to practice my craft, and how it affected me and how did I move on from that. So I guess experiencing creative blocks is as a creative is just a normal part of being an artist, and time and again I find that I experience creative blocks when I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to produce. It could be to produce a body of works for, which is due by a certain deadline, maybe for an exhibition, or it could be when I'm not doing what I want or painting what I want from my heart, and there are some boundaries within which I need to paint, but none of these are too difficult to overcome. There are some techniques that all of us have to sort of overcome these kind of blocks, but the worst one that I remember occurred, it started somewhere early this year and it just got worse when we hit the pandemic. So I was struggling with creating continuously an endless batch of tutorials, and these tutorials are simplified versions of how to do certain things, how to do certain subjects for beginners. And in that process where I converted, I was just always in a state of creating art as a commodity for others, and I wasn't painting for my own self. That's where I started encountering blocks, and these blocks started affecting me being able to creatively come up with solutions for projects that could be simplified. It affected my functioning in creating whatever tutorials I was creating. So and I then also got caught up in the whole pandemic situation, where as an art practitioner I needed to pivot my business into a new avatar. So all my classes and workshops were in the brick and mortar version. I didn't have anything online, and I just got into a headspace where I could not paint a single brushstroke, and I needed to take a conscious pause and remind myself I do not need to run with the crowd. I need to stop right now, whatever I'm doing, and take some creative me time off for my own self and paint without any objective, which is always has been a way of practice. But somewhere in being an art practitioner and teaching and painting tutorials and creating work samples, I forgot that the whole point of why I'm a creative, it is so that I'm always connected with my intuitive creative self, and I use art as a way of self-care and maintaining well-being, and I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. And that was a realization that came when I took that conscious pause and reminded that I can achieve what I seek to achieve in my own time and pace. I do not need to run with the crowd. I do not need to be a part of the rat race. I will get where I want to be once I reconnect and take time off to reconnect with my creativity. So I went back to using painting as a meditative process, which is where I do not paint with any structure. I do not analyze what's coming out of the painting process. I paint just to be in the moment. And so that's the best thing I did, was to take some creative me time off. I started watching online tutorials of what work other artists were doing, and there are so many artists out there who are so generous with their skills and knowledge, and just watching them enjoy what they were doing in their own practices, it gradually and slowly helped me ease myself back into this headspace where I could start painting again. I started warming up to different ideas, my imagination started coming back, and gently and gradually I eased myself into that state of creativity and productivity. So I was able to move on from that by being easy on myself. I affirmed to myself that I do not need to do what everybody else is doing. I'm walking on my own timeline, on my own path, and I will get where I need to be if I just enjoyed what I was doing. And before I knew it, I got there. Eventually I started painting again. I created an online course in my own time, so I got back into that state where I was creative and productive, and it felt good to move on from that complete mental block of not being able to produce one good thing. So yes, experiencing creative blocks happens to all of us. I guess it's important for us to take time off, walk away, and come back when we feel ready, both in our mind and heart, to continue and inspire ourselves before we seek to inspire others.